Welcome to Tyler's Garage. Today I'm here to show you my newest project, either my best idea or my worst idea. So we're still trying to determine which one that might be. So this is a approximately 1990s Rayco RG1635 stump cutter, stump grinder. This unit, I think, has been used somewhat. The hour meter seems to indicate that it wasn't used that much. It only has 338 hours on the hour meter. However, it has definitely set out for some period of time. When I purchased the unit, I purchased it from a professional tree guy who essentially at this point was simply doing tree work and subbing out all of his grinding to a guy that had about a $90,000 grinder. That said, I purchased this for a very reasonable price, and when he was demoing it for me, he really couldn't get it to idle right. And we looked at the gasoline and smelled it, and it obviously smelled very old. And so I thought that probably was the reason. I did hear the engine turn over. It did run. It just was not idling exactly as it should be. So I used that as a negotiating tool, and so I went ahead and purchased it. So got it back up here. This unit does definitely need some TLC as you look at it. So this unit does have the side piece here that will move over for the user, for the operator, and also the teeth are on their last legs and will need to be replaced here in the very near future. This unit is a 16 because it has the 16-inch cutter head on it. This is a 24 teeth model, and then the engine on it is a Wisconsin 4-cylinder engine. So sort of a unique air-cooled engine that you might find, and still trying to figure out the exact date model. So there's the serial. If you do know, please holler in the comments about what year this unit is. I think it may be an 89. I was looking at the VIN stub here, which says 1635 ASA 0327, and I believe that last says 89. So that would probably make sense for it. So the previous owner did say he replaced this cylinder bank here, the head on it. What's unique about this engine is it is an L-shaped. It's not an overhead cam cylinder, so it's a little bit different than some of the more modern stuff here, but it's also much more simple. It's a very simple engine to work on. It's a simple engine to find parts for, etc. The previous owner also stated that it does smoke some, which he thought meant that the rings may need to be replaced. I've been doing some research on the rings, and there are actually 4 rings on these, on each one of these cylinders. It looks like the parts themselves are about $115 or so. The engine does look like it's an easy one to work on in terms of availability and accessibility on it. So my goal with this project is, first off, to just get it running. Of course, work on some of the cosmetic stuff, and then get it in action. So what I have done already on here is drained the fuel. So this has about a 13-gallon fuel tank here. It is nice. It has a peacock right here at the bottom, which makes it easy to drain the fuel. And in fact, as always, when I did drain the fuel, I did get a lot more fuel than I was expecting. The fuel smelled real bad. You could almost smell like that it had gone sour. The previous owner said that he thought the stump grinder had only been out of commission or not being used for about eight months. I suspect it's probably 15 months or or maybe even 2 years. So the previous owner did change the ball here and put a new, this apparently broke off on him, and so he welded this on and then also bolted it for the hitch there. Additionally, I tried to charge the battery, however it won't take a charge. It's a 700 cold cranking amp battery. It's just an automotive 12 volt battery, but on the other side of the unit it does show a date code of 2018, which puts it about 5 years old at this point. So I am planning to replace that and replace it with probably a type, I think 34 or 35 battery. The other thing I noticed, for whatever reason, they really should have installed a top post battery, because they basically used an adapter here, and that adapter can cause problems for you. So I plan on getting a new top battery there, and get one that's a little bit bigger and has 800 cold cranking amps. Additionally, you have the hydraulics on this side, and then this actually does have a hydraulic arm right here, which is pretty cool. So once you get it backed up onto the stump, the unit will move forward, and so you really don't have to move your vehicle, etc. I've also noticed that really this style of engines, or this style of pull behinds, has been replaced now with those that are self-moving. When I was on the search, I was also looking at an SC252, which I thought would be a little bit easier because it's self-propelled and easier to drive to the to the stump. But then I found this one, and it was a good enough deal that I decided to make it work. It looks like on here someone has messed around a little bit on it. There should have been a key, and it's been since changed. It also looks like the choke here has been moved over, and you can notice that like it shouldn't be on that intake. So I don't know what's up with that. I did go ahead and remove the fuel filter on here and took a look at that, and it looked okay. I also drained all the fuel lines, and then additionally on the carburetor here there is a nut that holds the bowl, so I drained that. So my next step is I have new gasoline, new ethanol-free gasoline, and I'm gonna put maybe 2 to 3 gallons in here. I am gonna have to jump start it because this battery will need to be replaced. However, I don't want to replace it until I know that the unit will idle and will idle correctly. So that'll be step one, is let's go ahead, jump it off, and see if we can get this this bad boy started, and most importantly that we can hear it idle. And so that's going to help us to know that the engine is good, and we can also witness whatever smoke is coming out of it, so we can start to think about next steps. So we have put about 3 gallons in here. We got the jumper cables on it for a few minutes here, get some electricity into the engine, or into the battery, excuse me. And then over here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead on this. Obviously this is the choke right here, and then this right here operates, and you can hear the fuel pump turn on. You can also hear the load on the engine. So we'll go ahead and look, and I see fuel filling in the filter there. So we'll let that run for maybe another 30 seconds, and fingers crossed we get this thing to run. So all right, so here's our point of truth. It is pretty hot out here, so Greetings again. You join us about a week later, and I wanted to show you some of the things that we've been working on the RG1635A stump grinder here. So got some upgrades going on, got some things, and just wanted to give you a quick update. So I guess the first thing is we noticed looked at the tires and wheels. So these tires and wheels, the ones that were existing on it, obviously dry rotted. They were about 20 some years old and they needed to be replaced. I started doing some research on it, and it turns out that these 15-inch rims were not even the actual rims that were included with the 1635A when it was new. They were actually on a 13-inch rim. So these tires are a 7-inch by 15-inch LT, and I started doing some research. My local tire shop quoted me $125 per tire to replace them. They did have that exact tire in stock, and I went around and did a little bit more research and found the bolt pattern is the same 4.5-inch bolt pattern, and so I actually found these for about $110 a piece already mounted on the rim. Now these are a metric size, so this is an ST205/75R15. When I did look at them, you do notice that maybe a 1-inch diameter difference on the tire, so that's something to keep in mind when I was looking at it too. So I've already mounted this one right here, and this, I was concerned that when I do drop it down, it's currently on jack stands, so that's why it's bumped in the air, but the concern would be that this protective barrier may rub on the surface of when it's the roadway when you're driving it around. So we'll see on that. I'm going to hopefully get it out today and use it, but got some more TLC to go through. But these are a 15-inch rim, look really good, and it was about 200 bucks for those. So next thing, I started playing around with the cutter head itself and started looking at the teeth that are on here. Some, as you can notice right here, are missing, which is obviously not a good sign. So I started looking at replacement teeth for this, and I didn't even know exactly how to take them off. But it turns out these are the pieces here, and simply a 12 millimeter Allen. And so I actually went out and just purchased so I could use the impact gun, which makes it a lot easier. And I wanted to show you here what I found. So these are the original teeth that were included with it. Some of them are broken. I believe these are just replacements. And what I was able to find was CEI makes these teeth. So for the complete set, you need 10 left, 10 right, and 4 straight teeth for this cutter head. And that was about $290 for all of the teeth. I'm going to reuse the bolts. I am going to put Loctite on them when I install them to make sure that they're easy to get off in the future. I did look at the green teeth option on these, but I want to sort of spend some time with it, see if it's really the unit that I want to keep long term. The green teeth option would require replacement not only of the teeth themselves, but these pieces, and then probably you would want to also put in new bolts. So it may not make sense. It was about $700 or $650. Also, Rayco has what they call a super tooth design, which essentially this whole piece is integrated. So that's also another option. That option was about $600 on this unit. So additionally, on the Wisconsin engine, I have no record of when the oil was changed on it. Looking, there may have been some type of hydraulic leak at some point. So I decided also it would make sense to go ahead and replace the engine oil. I'm looking at it too in terms of some people had described actually dropping the bottom and dropping the oil that way. So I went ahead and I was looking. It's an RK, I believe RK52 is the oil filter, but there are about 1,000 different replacements. So this I went with the Baldwin. BT341. There's also a Napa equivalent. Actually a pretty big filter, and it turns out these filters cost about $15 to $20. So, and I believe that the volume of oil that's required for this is about 4 quarts. So I went ahead with the straight grade Rotella. I'm not real familiar with this product. I haven't used it before, but most people speak of it very highly. So we'll get an oil change in here additionally. I do need to spend some time with the hydraulics fluid here, looking at that, see if I can figure out in terms of the date, age on that, and the level, etc. before I get it running. Maybe a little TLC, a little cleanup. Down here, I was looking at batteries. I was going to get my battery at Costco, but this Type 34 with the top post was about $135 there. I found this one for $69 at Rural King and a $12 core on that. We're going to see how that works. So also I'm looking at something that may be a little bit more permanent than a strap, but I guess the strap really works there. But the nice thing too is you won't have these adapters. I may also go ahead and replace these connectors here on the battery. That's only a few dollars. So I'm over here starting to install these, and I just wanted to bring you up to date with the issue that I just encountered. So these sit inside here on the unit so that that's how that goes. Now obviously as you look here, that will not fit within there. So I guess for some reason either A, I ordered the wrong part, B, they sent me the wrong part. So we're back here with our friend the Stump grinder. So I came out and I actually decided to pull the trusty old power washer out and go ahead and give it a nice cleaning. That said, all the junk, I guess you could say, got on the concrete, but that'll be okay. But it really helped to sort of clean off the dirt and see what it actually looked like. There were a lot of areas that were dark that the power washer was able to quickly take the dirt off. So, and then I started looking at it and started getting intrepid and decided to go ahead and do the oil change. So I went through, obviously pulled the filter here. Also, it's pretty cool. Got some stuff down here. Hopefully you can see the engine casting, which cleaned off quite well. So I pulled that off and started looking, and then I also went ahead, I drained the oil, and so with the oil here I had, this is about the volume that came out of it, about a gallon, a little less than a gallon, and then I pulled the oil filter obviously too. And what I noticed, I decided to go ahead and pull the bottom pan right here. It is nice on here. It has an extension to make it a lot easier for changing the oil. But when I pulled this pan off, you can see how many fasteners it included. And I'll say a tool like this, having a electric wrench makes it a lot easier. Though I did have to go through and break a few by hand, but they came off. I guess that's the easy part. Now the more challenging part will be getting it back on. I don't think this has ever been taken off, and if you look at it, you can notice all the sludge, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean that off. It was also sort of interesting how it fit in there. I don't know if you can see, but it almost slides in there. But access to those bolts was, I'd say, a little challenging. It wasn't hard, but you just sort of had to be aware of where things were. So can't get in there. You can see a little bit there at the bottom of the engine. So I'm gonna clean that out and then reconnect all those bolts. The other thing I was going to show you is how nice, if you go online, you can find PDFs with the operator's manual, and then these are all the different RV52 parts replacement filters that you can use. So there are tons out there. And then I found this, which is a illustrated parts catalog, which is really nice. That was a simple PDF. And then additionally, I found this Wisconsin repair manual. And when I tried to actually print it out, there was some type of blocking, so it was not allowed to print out. However, I just uploaded the PDF to another website and was able to get it. But this has an incredible amount of information and service procedures and what to do, etc. So really lucky to have all this information to help me as I go through. So here we are with our RG1635A. I just wanted to give a little update here. Last one for the day. Went ahead and got the new oil filter on. It is interesting here on the oil filler cap. I haven't put the Rotella in, but the cap is actually like an air breathable cap essentially. So when I was power washing, I should have known that, but shows that. And then also here you have the hydraulic fluid. So I did go ahead and pull, there's a sight glass here, and that's so that you can help to know the level of it, though I had a hard time really seeing in there to double check that I was getting, that I could see it. Also, you have to be aware, I have the engine currently in an elevated position, and because of that you're going to have issues with, like, the oil level won't necessarily be correct. So but we have the oil filter out, or excuse me, the hydraulic filter out. The number on that is a PER 20 or an H32010, so we'll go ahead and look at that. Also looking at the manual, there's, I think it's 1.4 gallon capacity on this unit. It's sort of interesting also here, when you put your finger in here, there's actually like a metal piece. So I think the expectation is you put the new hydraulic fluid in there, and then you'll get it up to when it drains out of here, and then you'll essentially leave it there. So, but yeah, so there it is. Another fun day. So a little bit of a mess in the driveway, but just wanted to keep you up to date.